Welcome back, everybody, to VVR. We are going to talk about Suicide Squad, open spoiler talk. So if you guys haven't seen Suicide Squad yet, please go out and watch it. I can't recommend it enough. To me, it's the best movie of the summer. Amazing movie. And here, joining me today in the studio, we have the one and only Mr. Turner.
Hello.
What's going on? Dude, give me your thoughts, and then we're going to dissect this movie from the beginning to the end.
First thoughts going into the movie. Loved the comedy. The comedy of it. It felt authentic. Seeing where I guess Suicide Squad was from.
Right.
Seeing the villains, seeing how they all banded together. But also seeing the way it linked with the former.
Yeah.
But not directly. Was also really cool.
Pretty interesting with like a soft reboot done really well.
Yep. Yeah, like a lot of light notes to the way that the first one was done, but at the same time nothing super heavy.
Right.
That didn't take away from the way that this one was characterized at all.
Which is, honestly, I don't even know how they did it, man, because I've talked about it in my review that they gave James Gunn the opportunity to do any movie he wanted when he came over to DC.
Yeah.
And he chose the Suicide Squad. What do you think about James Gunn as a director and how he handled this movie?
Unfortunately, I was comparing it to the way that Joss Whedon took over Justice League,
Right.
just because it was a Marvel director coming over to DC.
That's an interesting point.
And looking at it that way, it seemed to have worked much better.
Oh, yeah.
He seems to have... I don't know the source material as well as I'm sure he probably researched and things like that.
Yeah.
But the way he put it out there, it seemed more flowed. It seemed more authentic. And it didn't seem like he took away from anybody's role at all either.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about this movie is that everyone got their time to shine.
Yep. Yeah.
Like everyone too. Freaking Harley Quinn, which is like probably like the biggest IP there.
Yep. Yeah, she had the most time. Well, not most time, but she had the biggest scenes.
Yeah.
But even still,
one of the best kick-ass scenes ever.
Everybody's got their dope lines though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody's got their one-liners, their cool moves.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see them all, and the new characters as well.
And like even freaking Ratcatcher too. Like
yes.
what?
Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, I had no idea who the character was prior to this thing.
I've seen Ratcatcher 1. I've read about Ratcatcher 1. I have a big book of just DC villains specifically geared towards
no freaking way.
Batman, but I've gone it's thick. But I've
Is
gone,
it like an omnibus kind of thing? Like
it's
just like 50
it's just
books?
like a big encyclopedia that just has all of.
And he's in there.
And he's in there, yeah, Ratcatcher, and then it references 1, 2,
Right.
and sometimes if there's 3 and 4, it will. But
right.
either way, I saw Ratcatcher in there, so it was interesting to see the way that Ratcatcher was on screen again.
Right.
I liked that was the second one, not the first one.
Isn't that interesting? And that was played by Taika Waititi, and
Yep.
I didn't know it until like we get the scene at the very end when they're on the tower, just talking about.
Yeah.
Dude, I got the close up upstairs. I'm like, that's fucking Taika Waititi right there.
That was really cool to see. I did like the way that because going back to James Gunn, the way he brought in the some of Marvel's actors.
Yeah.
But they didn't feel like Marvel's actors in these roles. They were
felt so different.
They did feel like actual different characters and different like super villains at that point.
Right.
And
and extremely fleshed out. Like even everyone too. Like even freaking Polka Dot Man. Like who the fuck knows about Polka Dot Man?
I've only heard stories and seen brief references, and from what I know, he's a huge Robin villain. He doesn't like Robin. Robin's taken him down on more than one occasion. I guess a lot of these guys make fun of him.
It sounds like a cool thing now that I want to see, but unfortunately we won't get to see because he died.
Because man, just the whole interdimensional like polka dot thing was interesting. That was cool.
That was really insane.
Cool powers though. Cool to like let loose on that. I love that.
Every scene that he was in.
That was so funny.
Well, let's talk about this opening scene because, actually for me, I have a little story. So I went to AMC last week Thursday, and it was like for an 8:30 showing, right?
Yep.
They close the theaters at 8.
Oh.
But they're still going to show the movie, right? So they assume that you go in 30 minutes beforehand.
You've already been there.
Exactly.
Right.
So that you don't get locked out, and that's what happened to me. I got locked out of Suicide Squad. Like the movie, I usually try to get to the movie if it's 8:30. I'll get there like if the movie times on your phone says 8:30.
Yep.
20 minutes for trailers. Whatever.
Right. Yeah. Because there's a lot of build up before the actual movie starts.
Exactly.
Yep.
Twice. Like there was a lot for apparently not as much for this one, but there was still quite a bit where I made it just 5 minutes before the beach scene. Just 5 minutes before that.
Like right as they were walking up.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh man, I feel like I missed a part.
South or north?
I think it was
because there was like the two beaches. There was like the
Oh,
south.
the first one.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, I think that's the south
Yeah,
side, right?
yep, yeah. Just making it. Love
Exactly. So they're in the helicopter, and I get to see. Actually, that's when I got to see it. I got to see it when they're on the helicopter, and Rick Flagg's talking to the crew, and I feel like I missed so much already, even though
Yeah.
like I only missed like probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And when I got to see it the second
there's a
time,
lot in that intro.
It is.
It's a heavy intro. I
And-
mean, not a heavy, but it's
it's
good.
quite a bit, man.
Yeah.
What did you? I didn't know any of these. Even the first party that went there.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. Like fucking Weasel.
Weasel. Did anybody ask Weasel if he could swim? Anybody. That's like my favorite line of the entire opening is if anybody asked him.
I died laughing.
The fact that nobody on Waller's team had anything to say.
Dude, it was perfect. And Pete Davidson, man. Let's talk about it real quick. So we have finally a comedian in the high profile. I call it a high profile, like
I mean,
like
you're
action movie.
you're being known.
Yeah.
Your face is out there.
And I just love how fitting he was to be in this part of the first team of the Suicide Squad to go in there. And there's a rumor going out that, not a rumor, but like a theory going out that Amanda Waller sent this first crew as a distraction to die.
Yes.
But it's like, how would you? First of all, if she cared about that, if the movie makes it known that she cares about the team,
Yeah.
and she cares about Rick Flag. Like that's her man.
Right. Like she cares about Flag at least.
Yeah.
Minimalistically.
Exactly. Everyone else is indispensable, or dispensable, I should say. But it gets to the point where like Weasel jumps out, and then she like casts, and she's like really angry that like she sent these people to like or the Suicide Squad, the first crew, to go in there to at least make. Try to do the best that they could.
Yeah.
And then the second team as like, the fail safe, but never to like just send these guys straight to die. I never saw it that way.
I don't necessarily think she sends them straight to die. I think her gasp was more irritation that a tool, if you will,
Yeah.
is now just gone.
Just like
Because
that.
maybe this psychopath that had killed 26 children
Yeah.
was going to be pretty useful in some way, shape, or form
Yeah.
on their beach success or whatever.
That's why I never saw it as the theory. I never bought into the theory that she just sent them there to die. No, I think she fully intended for them to all make it out of there alive, or at least.
See, and I don't know
succeed
if
that
she
plan.
intended for them all to make it out. That's my
Right.
side of it. So like Flag, Quinn,
Right.
and like a few of the even
The first
Savage,
three. Yeah.
the long hair.
There's TDK kid, the detachable kid, played by Nathan Fillion of all
man.
people.
Just his role is interesting. I've never heard of his character.
Me neither.
But I mean, if he's a villain, I guess
How?
I don't think she expected him to make it out. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Because some people, I don't think she was surprised. That
Well,
did it.
when you think about the TDK, and then they're like, "Hey, unleash the TDK. He's in range, or whatever." Like in that beat scene.
Yeah.
And then he's like, finally pops up his arms, and you feel like something amazing is about to happen.
You really like, he's about to take over some guns or
Yeah.
like some tanks or something.
Yeah.
And no, he's doing like high fives and fist bumps and knocking guns, but he's not really doing much.
Dude, I died. That was like, what a way to open a movie. And for me, I loved Captain Boomerang.
Yes.
I forget.
Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney.
Yep, Jai Courtney.
Awesome. Just amazing.
No,
And
I do wish we had a little bit longer with him.
yeah, just a bit, man. I really love his character.
I was a bit butthurt.
Yeah.
Right in the beginning. They did review it obviously and go back and explain a little bit more. But
Well, it's weird because like when he dies, it's like, okay, no one is safe.
yeah.
As soon as he
that was my revelation too.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. So like, we're probably gonna lose more people that I like in
Right.
this movie, not just like that I know in this movie.
Yeah, and who else was in there? There was Mongrel, the girl that was like an orange.
The mongrel, she took over the actual the helicopter,
which is really cool.
I unfortunately don't remember the guy with the accent.
Yeah, the guy that gives
Yeah, the spear.
Harley Quinn the javelin or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, he was funny.
I didn't know what he was going to do. Like,
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I don't know what his character was. I
Yeah.
should go back and research like what his actual name was.
that's what I'm curious. I'm curious about these people that are villains because Polka-Dot Man. Okay, you can kind of see he's kind of a psychopath. Bloodsport makes sense, like
Yep.
they explained in the movie.
Yeah.
What he did to Superman. Harley Quinn makes sense, but I don't know who that guy is. The guy with the javelin.
There's no explanation really of where he is or
Yeah.
what. It kind of seems like he's there on like of his own volition,
Right.
Or like he maybe is like supposed to be there. He's just what he does because he doesn't seem like he would fit in with anything that, even like prison.
Yeah.
Like doesn't seem like he'd fit in there.
He seems like a genuinely decent person, and then he just gets taken out. And even like Pete Davidson, as soon as Pete Davidson, I knew he was gonna die.
I knew he was gonna die, but like, damn.
Like, I think it was his bloodbath or black blood or
Black something.
black something. But as soon as he walks out, I was like, hey guys, like I sold you guys out. Or I thought he was in that scene though. I thought he was actually talking to the good militia people, the ones that are trying to take over Corto Maltese or whatever.
Right.
I thought he was actually talking to them, but then it reveals that it's actually the other army.
Right.
I thought that was what was going on. At least that's the way I saw it in my mind. Did you see it differently?
When he stood up, I assumed he was doing a kind of plan, if you will, because again, I didn't know his character.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe he's got something up his sleeve where he's gonna walk, get close, and then do some crazy thing.
Yeah.
And then like the lights came on. I'm like, oh no.
This dude gonna die.
He's a rat and he's gonna die. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen like how he even did that. If he did plan that coup or whatever. I'm curious what was his end game, because Waller still has a chip in his head. And she
I don't know. Up, right? I mean, I guess there are ways to get it out of their heads. I mean, there's ways that they've gotten it out of their heads in the comics and the other movies and things like that.
Right, and that's when I'm just curious what his end game was, and if that was even the right militia he was talking to or thinking he was.
I imagine it probably was the militia he was talking to. I just imagine they were like, "Cool, thanks for the heads up. We don't care." Bang.
Yeah, boom, and let's just kill all of you right now. I assume it was like that. At least I want to say so, because then we get to introduce to the other team, the real or like the title card comes up as the Suicide Squad.
Right.
How I didn't think that was gonna happen, because like you see everyone's dying. It's just Harley and Rick Flag there. Who I freaking love. Harley Quinn in this.
Oh yeah, this was definitely another expansion of her movie.
Yeah,
her own kind of essence growing.
Dude, probably one of the best scenes. I love Birds of Prey, by the way. I didn't love it. I liked it a lot, like heavily like it. I thought this was the best representation of Harley Quinn we've gotten so far.
I do like I'd say I do this. I like this one more than Birds of Prey. I like Birds of Prey though because it explains a little bit more in terms of her character.
Yeah, her psyche is definitely explored
in terms of why she's like this in this movie. Because you can be like, okay, cool, never mind. She's been through a little bit. Since we've last seen her. I like
how it carries over from Suicide Squad, and it still carries over even to this movie when she shoots the. Diego Luna, whoever that guy is, like the bad president.
The Luna guy.
Yeah. Which we'll get to in a second. But we get introduced to the new Suicide Squad team, and wow, what did you think of Idris Elba? Like for me, this guy killed it.
Tank, just killed a tank.
I loved
the entire movie. I had not gonna lie, I had decent expectations considering he is not replacing a certain other character.
I didn't know what was going on with that, because Will Smith crushed it in Suicide Squad.
Yep,
I think him and Harley are like probably the only good redeeming qualities of that one.
Yeah.
And Rick Flag, of course, because like they actually brought the acting chops.
Yeah, and I think that they were trying to piggyback off that. I think that they were they were like, okay, well, Harley was working well with the assassin, the kind of like leader of the group, so to speak.
Was it Deadshot, right?
Yep, Deadshot. That's it. Yeah.
But, I don't know why Will Smith couldn't have come to this.
I don't know if they didn't want him. I don't know if he didn't want it. Right. But I mean, I know obviously due to the reviews of the first one, maybe they were like, well, I'm gonna kind of stay away from it.
And he's doing some other stuff, so I guess he's just probably really busy. But...
Yeah. So I mean, he's got other things he's doing. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, I was interested to see Bloodsport though.
Yeah. I don't know anything about him.
I've seen him like once in Superman the animated series in like '99, way back in the day.
That really goes back.
It's just that's the one time I've ever seen him.
Well, I have my sister actually got a little figurine, and these like little open box, but his whole costume looks more alien, like alien morphic kind of thing.
Right.
I thought he wasn't a real person. I thought it was an alien.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, he's definitely an assassin. I just I put him kind of with Deadshot.
Right.
But he uses more of his tool sets on his body.
Yeah, which is freaking cool.
Which that was insane.
Yeah.
I want to know the true number of how many actual weapons he has.
Yeah, and they all still combine into something really cool.
Crazy things like and random orders too, because he'll pull the same thing from his leg up. Right. But he'll put it in a different spot and it does a different thing.
That's what I wanted to see more of, man. Because I mean, so we get to this. We'll get to this scene of the jungle scene, which is like probably one of the best scenes in the whole movie. But John Cena. Real quick.
Yes, the Peacemaker. The Peacemaker. Ironic name in itself.
I did not see John Cena playing that kind of a role.
No, I had so when he was first cast, I had already I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do with this guy?
Right, because we know that he's kind of like plays sillier characters, not as can't really lead a frontman show. But after this,
I'd trust him in any. I trust him. I trust him in a big lead role. I would.
Yeah.
Just the comedic, the way he would switch between like that like almost psychopath and then being like the comedian about it at the same time.
Right.
Was gold.
Yeah, and even his costume, I don't see the Liberty symbol. Do you know what he's talking about when he's like, it's a symbol of liberty?
It's a symbol of liberty. Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand the liberty symbol at all in that. I don't if there was a symbol in there, I didn't see it.
Maybe that just makes up to his character because maybe that's just kind of like, oh, in his mind, it's liberty. But like in reality, we're like, what?
Maybe it's like a bell in a way.
Possibly,
I guess
that would make more sense.
I
was thinking like it was like the stat somehow it's related to a statue.
Maybe the hair is maybe that rim in the background. I don't know.
Right, but the way that they used it as a toilet bowl or whatever that was
a funny reference.
Yeah.
He was very insulted by it too.
Yeah,
I had to actually look that up. Turns out. Apparently, he thinks that it absorbs souls, but that's a whole thing.
And like, so he
around him, yeah.
So he's an actual character from.
He's an actual character, yeah. In the world, he was created in I think it was like 80 something like that or like. But he's obsessed with the death that around him. Apparently, he thinks that goes into his toilet helmet.
I thought that was what's gonna be. I think I did hear about that, but it never. I mean, when I went to go see the movie, none of that was in there. So.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like.
That's why I wanted to know why he got so insulted by it. I'm like, why is he so insulted by it?
Exactly.
He does look like a toilet seat.
A little bit. And then we get to the tidy whitey scene, which is freaking.
It's racist.
Male camel toe.
That was so funny.
That was awesome.
That was so funny.
He was
proud. He's proud.
Oh, he was, man. He was, dude. And you see how built he is.
Ripped.
Oh
just
my God.
Jacked the whole movie.
And like I don't know how many times he works out, but dude.
I mean, I feel like he's trying to keep up with a certain other DC supervillain character.
I can definitely see that. Actually, I think I heard that Dave Bautista was originally going to be the Peacemaker.
Really? That'd have been interesting.
He turned it down, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why. He'd have had more talking, like more...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I think...
Maybe he was doing...
Guardians 3, maybe?
Either Guardians 3 or that Netflix one, the Army of the Dead.
Possibly.
Maybe he was doing that instead.
Possibly, because were shooting at the same time, so it might have been that.
So maybe he was occupied.
Yeah. But then we move on to freaking Ratcatcher 2, man. Yes. To me, I thought she was definitely the heart and soul of this movie.
She was a very interesting character. I didn't know what to expect from her. I didn't know she was going to have as much involvement in terms of like calming King Shark down and like connecting with Idris Elba's character
in a very profound way.
In a very just kind of becoming like that kid of the group that everybody cared about.
I thought she was super cute too. Like even just besides that,
the actress herself. I like that they described her as a millennial. That was funny.
Yeah, that was freaking great, man. But I literally loved all of her scenes with like her, like there's this bus scene, right, that we get into as they're going into the city, and she's talking to Bloodsport about like, they're connecting in a way, and he's like, "Why are you looking at me?" And she's like, "Why do you hate rats?" And all that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Because she really wants to know why does he hate rats so much.
Yeah, and she brought the acting to it, man. She's standing on. I've never heard of this girl, by the way.
No, I've never seen her.
Standing toe to toe with Idris Elba, making him believe that he was crying, and I'm getting emotional.
The whole father daughter connection to it of like you remind me of my daughter and him like really like kind of. Not getting over his rat fear, but being like, I want to protect her, and if I want to protect her, I have to work with that rat, and I'm gonna do that.
Isn't that interesting? Because like when we first meet Bloodsport, he's cleaning up gum at the jail cell, and then he gets a call from his daughter or whatever. They're talking like through the phone booth.
So messed up. That's such a setup.
And it's so isn't it? And then like I wish I would have gotten more of his revelation with his actual daughter because it just kind of ends at the end, But. It's more of a transcendence with Ratcatcher too, as in like I want to be this hero for her.
Right.
That's the way I took of it, and it still was satisfying for me, like just seeing their relationship evolve and like him saving her at the end from not getting hit by the frickin' starfish or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
Starro,
exactly, which we'll get to. But I really liked his character development between like not wanting to be a hero or actually wanting to do some more.
Yeah. It was funny to see, I guess, like because like you said, because he's scraping gum, he's just all of a sudden Pete Davidson throws him the rag and all that kind of stuff. Seeing him kind of get triggered by his daughter coming in.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny to see how he's like, oh, I'm not going to be the leader. I mean, and that's where you know, like, well,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be the leader, man.
Possibly.
Like,
And it definitely makes sense for what happens later to one of our other characters,
right.
which we'll get into. But wow, for sure, kill it. And
Yeah.
all the chemistry, just even all the way around.
I thought the way that because again with the bus scene, they kind of took the time and explained each character in their own right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, especially going back to Waller explaining like when they're all in the room together about like what they're doing and where they're going, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like that was a nice little like glimpse into each one of their characters by having each one of them ask a question.
Right. Which is really great. Yeah.
Of just like their own character, which Peacemaker's was gold.
Absolutely amazing. And moving on to the next character, man, freaking King Shark.
Love him.
Who was your favorite character out of the whole crew, man?
I mean, out of the bunch, in terms of delivering lines, it's Peacemaker. I gotta give it to him. In terms of design, though, King Shark's like his texture.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't scaled, but he looked exactly like a shark, like a shark would out of water.
What's weird is that I haven't seen CGI look this good in a minute.
It was crisp. Crisp.
Lighting was perfect.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that is a shark.
Yeah,
that
was
screen.
an absolute shark. You can see like the depth of the eyeballs, like
Yeah.
and everything like that. Like you can see like the blackness of it.
Super well done. And even like the other freaking Starro, when we get to him, I believe
smooth. That was my overall smooth. Everything was so smooth.
And that's where you can tell that's where the money went, man.
Yeah.
And even like in the beginning action scenes, fireworks are going off, freaking hand grenades,
explosions. You've got like special abilities going off and
Yeah.
everything. Like you've got them doing flips and different acrobatics through the air. Like
and you believe it too.
It brought you into the movie immediately, and then it set the tone of like this is the pace.
Yeah.
So like this is the pace of the movie the entire time.
Which is great. I love that whole scene. And then we move on to the freaking when they go into the freaking jungle, and we find out the Rick Flag is captured. And Amanda Waller's like, okay, you guys need to go save Rick Flag at minimum. And she doesn't really care about Harley because Harley gets taken. She doesn't know
Harley.
about it.
Yeah, right.
She probably
she cares for Rick Flag. Harley, yeah.
Yeah, Harley, whatever. So then she sends a team to go do that, and the way that they filmed this scene of like Idris, Bloodsport, and freaking Peacemaker just going like back and forth of like I'm better than you,
right? Yeah. They're basically like testing each other. The whole exterminate with extreme prejudice. I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna see some cool stuff.
And we saw some amazing kills on
man.
them. Oh.
I just like the fact that they were silent did kind of bug me.
Going into like stealthy.
Not that they were silent, but they weren't silent. If you will. Like I mean, like this man set somebody on fire.
Yeah.
And they were screaming, and then like there was still people after that. I was like, okay, well. These people are screaming. What's going on with that? Why?
Yeah, I did also think about that as well because it's clear that like there's a scene where John Cena goes up and he's like blow darting people, right?
Yep.
And after, which is super cool.
Right.
And then after that, we get to this scene of like Idris Elba, like he chokes out a guy.
Yep.
Or probably I don't know if it happens before or after, but it doesn't matter. He chokes out a guy, very stealthy, and in front of him there are people that are looking at him, and then he just immediately goes into combat. Yeah, right. They're off screen, but you can tell that they're like their bodies are facing them because when they finally get revealed, the people that Bloodsport's about to fight, they're like fully facing him.
Yeah, right.
Which is like, the screaming people, you can't hear them, and like you can see that they're actually around.
Right. The layers of I guess henchmen, if you will, if you want to call them that, like the layers of people seems weird. I guess unless the distances were very far apart,
right?
Or somebody's playing music or whatever, which we know there wasn't because it was the early morning time.
Yeah.
So it just seemed really funny to see him go through it. But the moves that they were doing were amazing.
And that's the thing. I wouldn't replace that scene for the logic, some of the logic holes in there. Not. I wouldn't replace that scene. It was awesome.
No, seeing them compete and do the whole like, well, I have this many, and it's about the moves that you're doing.
And that's why I like. What's it called? Bloodsport's like nobody likes to show off in the piece.
Right? He's like, unless what you're showing off is dope as fuck.
He's like, fuck, that's a good point.
Because it was so cool.
I think he shot a bullet out of his ridiculously. His gun is like this big or something.
Yeah, the barrel on that thing is crazy. He didn't even look. He just like over his shoulder. He saw the reflection of Bloodsport's helmet. Right.
To see, I didn't even catch that the first time.
That's insane. It's just insane. And he was like, you missed. And he's like, it's not a non-lethal shot.
Yeah.
It's a concussive thing.
Yeah.
And then just like that silent explosion. Oh, that was so cool. Good.
But then that whole scene, it sets up the little rivalry. Well, not really rivalry, but this little I'm better than you kind of thing at killing or whatever throughout the movie, and even at the end when they had their confrontation, which I wish we would have gotten a little bit more resolve over. But there's so much in these characters' faces at the end when they're like going when they're gonna like confront each other, I guess, in a way.
Right.
There's so much
when their scenes are converging on each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is awesome. But anyway, Rick Flag is we find out that they actually killed all the good militia people or whatever, and Rick Flag is just sipping tea with the militia leader.
With the leader, yeah.
And this scene of like them realizing that we just killed the good guy.
These are the people we were supposed to help. Okay, cool. Them trying to fish their way out of that, and just like, did you what'd you do with my guards?
Yeah.
We didn't see anybody. That was the funniest thing. Didn't see anybody.
I don't know about your theater, but did you go see it in the theater?
No, I actually watched it at HBO Max.
Dude, my theater erupted.
No, yeah, I planned to see it in theaters, but that was literally one of the best parts. And then King Shark throwing up the finger.
Oh my god! And even all of King Shark's parts, man, were awesome. He's like him trying to eat Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
And then that little deep moment of like Ratcatcher trying to connect him, like, hey, if we're your friends, you can't eat us, or whatever. You know, it's such a nice moment.
Yeah, her whole like, do you have you ever eaten your friends?
Yeah.
Because that was their big thing. It was like, no, he eats his friends.
Yeah.
Well, have you eaten your friends? And he's like, no, I don't have friends.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, how about this? Like that good flip of character.
And
also kind of giving King Shark the like, well, he's a smarter person than he looks on to be.
Right.
Not just a shark.
And like we think that he's kind of like a dum-dum because like at the beginning when we first get introduced to King Shark, he's reading a book upside down and John Cena is like, oh, he's pretending to read. Look how smart he is.
Right. He's pretending how smart he is. And then like again when he says something in Spanish, he's like, look, he's learning Spanish.
Yeah. He's like, sure.
Right.
Did you know that was Sylvester Stallone?
I forgot until he said hand.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Until he was like, hand.
That you can definitely tell.
Then that's when I was like, holy shit, that's just Stallone.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
Blended in.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even tell that was even him.
Yeah, he did a real good job with it. It fit his character. Like I didn't think that it was one of those like silly, like stupid kind of voices. I thought it was appropriate.
You can definitely tell that is the voice of a shark that's walking.
Yeah, right.
I buy it.
Oh yeah, sure. No, yeah. If he walked down the street and I saw it and he was a high pitched voice or something like that, I'd be like, no, you're not real.
That'd be a little weird.
Right.
And then we move on to the frickin' that train scene. As you know, they kill them and then they're going into the city to go meet the Thinker in that bar. Or whatever. Did you know that one of the dancers was actually Mantis?
Yes.
I did not.
As soon as I saw her, yeah.
I was like,
because I'm like, they focus on her face, and I could see it in the eyebrows.
Yeah, I was like, I could see something. She looks so familiar.
I didn't confirm it until the second time I ran through it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was interesting to see her. It
was a kind of cool little cameo, a little thing. Right. But then I like the little bar scene because or even before, sorry. I think John Campy was talking about this. He's another like film YouTuber or whatever who does daily podcasts pretty much, and he was talking about the Suicide Squad. And one of the scenes that stuck out to him was that he got to see King Shark is looking outside the window, and he gets to see a couple smiling and then like they eventually kiss or whatever.
Yeah.
And the camera just pans up to King Shark, and you could just. For him, he said that he felt so much emotion in that moment. Did you feel anything like as his character growth was going on? Or
I would say I felt bad in the sense of like he's missing something. He's missing somebody or someone from his past. Unfortunately, I didn't get a large enough emotion because I didn't feel like they focused on it enough.
Yeah, I feel
or
like
at least brought it up.
I feel like that was kind of interesting. But like, oh, now I want to see it again to see if I missed something.
Right, because like maybe they did bring it up and I just didn't. I guess hear it or something like that.
Right, because it was just, and that's what James Gunn was doing, was that he just takes a second with these characters and gives them all a moment.
Right.
You know?
No, yeah, it was nice to see them all have their moments to shine, but yeah.
Right. And then that bar scene happens, so now we have this freaking bar scene where the Thinker comes in and then Idris Elba is like, goes up to him and they take him or whatever, but then like the bad militia comes in and basically they try to take him out.
Right.
And they get captured. I think it was Bloodsport, Rick Flag, and Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all get captured trying to take him out. I don't even really remember their plan. They're just kind of going to try to like escort him out of the building.
Right. To be a distraction for Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man to do.
Right. Then they ended up being. I did like the Peter Capaldi. kind of proved his name with being the thinker. He was questioning Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man. And he's like, you guys don't really seem like you're the leaders of the bunch.
Right.
Kind of making it seem like he was taking over control, but then Ratcatcher 2 obviously taking back the control, being like, no, I'll put a rat in your bum.
Yeah. like 12 or something rats.
Yeah, like that was funny.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What did you, I mean, like, the Thinker, I don't know much about the Thinker.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense in this movie and what he was trying to do, but to me, I thought he was the goofiest of all of them because, like, what was going on with his
definitely
head.
the quirkiest.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know this Thinker's backstory.
I know he's different, but I don't know how different.
The most I've seen him on screen or anything like that was coincidentally The Flash.
Yeah, The Flash, yeah.
But beyond that, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Resemblance was the same and everything like that, so I imagine he was still on his path to get to where he was.
Right.
And his brain it thinks at a rapid pace. So I mean, his quirkiness and things like that, I really enjoyed that because his brain is literally working at like 15 times the speed anybody's else.
See, I never got that from the thing, but now, like I said, I want to watch it again and catch up on these little moments.
No, it's those little things that you maybe know going, or you hear about going into a movie. Because again, I saw it on The Flash, so I'm like, well, I do know his character a little bit. So him being quirky, I'm like, well, that's because he's odd.
And
most smart people are odd.
Yeah, and they do drop a Starlabs reference in there too.
Yeah, yep. About Polka Dot's mom.
Yeah,
how he got his powers.
Which is nuts. Okay, going to Polka Dot Man, dude, he's really screwed up as a character.
I think that
I don't know what's going on inside his head. I feel like we can just make a entirely different video of just dissecting Polka Dot Man.
He's got a lot of different aspects to him. The one that I can't grasp around is the whole mom thing.
Right.
Him seeing I get the psych torture and everything like that, but I can't grasp.
Yeah, I don't.
Why I guess that it's still there. Him being the psychopath that he might be.
I think it's more of like it's part of trauma for sure, and I think for him it's that like she's the one, like we know, like her mom, she looks like, or Polka Dot's mom, mom, whatever.
Yeah.
She looks like the everyday mom of like.
Oh yeah.
Middle America.
I saw her and I was like, that's a Midwestern mom. Right
exactly.
There. Like they're if you search any like in Illinois, Ohio, like
they
that whole
nailed
area,
that casting.
Yeah, it's easy and she looked like I've seen her before in other movies.
Has been in other stuff. Yeah.
I missed her name in the credits, so I was like, I can't look her up.
No, there was quite a bit.
No,
I enjoyed it on there for sure. But it was interesting because like that's what he sees in his mind all the time is that his mom is everywhere, and I think it's because she probably traumatized him as a kid.
Right.
And now all he wants to do is kill his mom or whatever. Right. I think that's probably what's going on there.
But I don't. With that, like, did she traumatize you to the point where you don't want to use your polka dot abilities at that point? I know she was trying to make you a superhero, which is cool in theory.
Right.
Sucks that unfortunately it didn't pan out the same way you wanted it to.
And it's interesting because he names off that he has brothers and sisters that were successful and they did go off to do other things.
Yeah.
Curious to know what those are.
Don't know any of them.
Maybe Suicide Squad 2 or 3 or whatever.
That'd be an interesting little development with that.
Yeah.
Because I do like the fact that he uses his mother as a motivation.
Right.
Of like, well, if I focus on them being my mom, I can make sure that I eliminate the threat or whatever it might be.
But then we get to the bar scene and like you see him dancing and then everyone is his mom.
Around him is his mom. And at that point I'm like, that's so odd.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more to this character.
Because at that point he didn't seem like he minded that. Yeah.
He was
everyone
in it.
Around, that everyone around him was his mom. He seemed like comfortable with it,
which was really strange because like, wow, this character is so complex.
Yeah, right.
And I wish we would have got to see more of him. And then we get introduced to frickin' Milton. Do you remember Milton?
Milton. I don't remember a Milton. I don't know.
I would remember somebody named Milton. And then
Milton was great. I did like him stalling in there and kind of looking around. That was kind of funny. So I was like, what is he doing?
Oh, something we didn't touch upon is the soundtrack of this.
The soundtrack was good. I'd have to go back and like really listen to it, but it was one of those energy soundtracks. One of those ones that like every fight scene, every emotional scene felt very connected. Yeah, and even one of the last songs at the end where Ratcatcher is like using the rats against Starro. Mm-hmm. That song, oh my god, like it really tugs at your strings, man. It's pretty. It's really pretty with like the like that angelic voice that kind of like comes in at just as all the rats are coming over to save everybody. And that's what's really crazy about this movie. That's what I like about it is that you have
all of these tones coming together, and they work.
Yeah, you have the right characters have the right like emotions to kind of offset each other at that point.
Right.
Like with how aggressive we have Peacemaker over here.
Right.
You have Rick Flag, who is literally just the opposite of that. Of like, I want to help America and I want to help the United States, but like we don't gotta go that far. We don't have to push the boundary of that like that.
Yeah.
Or Idris Elba, who's like, no, screw everybody,
screw everything.
And you've got Ratcatcher, who's like, no, like just help everybody. Why not?
And I love how that's so interesting because normal circumstances, these characters would have never been together.
They would have looked at each other.
Yeah, they would have killed each other probably altogether.
Yeah, Peacekeeper would have ended every single one of them. Fuck it, I don't care.
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was interesting. How do they blend these characters together and just make it work?
Yep.
Amazing. So then we move on to one of the, like I said, probably the best Harley Quinn I've ever seen on screen, and Margot Robbie kills.
Oh yeah.
And that whole like people
she owns the character.
And some people think that like this whole scene of her getting captured and then what's it called, dating the Diego. Oh no, wait. Getting proposed to by the
Luna guy.
Yeah, El Presidente.
The Presidente Luna.
Yes.
Yeah.
To then getting, she killing him, which I thought was like a really good arc, just in and of itself.
I thought it was a nice little mini thing in itself. I thought it was, again, it felt very comic book. Like it felt very like cartoonish, if you will.
I didn't see it coming, by the way.
I
jumped.
I didn't think that she was gonna like fall in love with this guy, and then again turn around and just pow.
Yeah,
she's
like, kind of a red flag.
But but again, that's what I like that she shows from Birds of Prey at that point. That's that character growth or development from her being like, I've learned to see things as red flags, and I should probably eliminate them.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
I do like that she said, unfortunately, I can't break up with you.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna kill me.
Yeah, and I just love. She's just giving this speech, and he's just bleeding out,
just crawling across the floor.
Like it was perfect, and then you definitely, I actually cared for her character. Like I was like, dude, you are so damaged, but I bought it.
No, yeah, she owns her characters, and because she's the only person to ever played Harley Quinn live action on screen. And, I mean, I guess not true. Cinematically, she's the only person to play that.
And so far, like, I mean, anyone could play, the Harley Quinn character, but the way that she tackles it,
it's just she's. I feel like because she's hitting different aspects and different ranges of where Harley's been before. She's been there from the start. Yeah. And she did the whole uniform with the tails and everything.
Yeah, in the first one. Yeah.
Yep. And she's done like the Arkham uniforms, I guess, at this, and then she did she went real Arkham on this one.
Oh yeah. Straight up.
But she's hitting all aspects of it, like especially with the accent, not using the accent, things like that.
Yeah, and I didn't even catch that before until you mentioned it. That is definitely Arkham Knight uniform.
That's
or even Arkham City.
You play Arkham City, you open up. That's the one. Yeah. If you Google Arkham City right now, that's a Harley Quinn right now.
Dude, I didn't even catch up on that until you told me. See, there's so much more to this movie.
I loved it. It was amazing. I was geeking out the whole time watching.
Yeah, same. I was like, this is so freaking cool. All right, so then we get to the freaking. Let's see what happens next. There's the bar scene, and then the next scene that happens right after Harley Quinn gets captured. Dude, if you want to know who a psychopath is, like you see it in her eyes, like the guy that's torturing her turns around and he's like testing on his phone or whatever.
Right.
And then. I thought she was dead because
I thought she had passed out. Yeah, I did.
And I was like, oh my god, if they probably killed her here, damn. I guess I was like, maybe.
I guess no, because there's no rumors right now that she's continuing that I know of at the moment.
Well, there's more. There's something that's bigger that's happening with this movie because we finally got the box office, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
But like I was saying, like, dude, when she wakes up. And she just puts her legs around the guy, which I would have died to just been there. But
right.
And then she just cracks his neck, and the way he falls, and his head just
bounces. Oh my god, that's like the most realistic head snap that I've seen in movies in a while.
And like I said, I don't know where the CGI was in that.
No, and that's the thing is like apparently from what I hear from because I follow like IGN and DC accounts on like Twitter and everything like that. In that apparently she did that herself, actually being on the handcuffs and like doing like not snapping his neck, but like actually grabbing the key and like lifting it up.
If that was just her acting,
apparently it was. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, apparently it was. And I'm like, oh wow, that's incredible. Because she takes the role and just kind of runs with it. Like she does her own stunts, her own acrobatics, and everything like that.
Makes sense, man.
Yeah,
that is definitely Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you see it. Like that's her because she can do all that herself.
Yeah. And then she goes into her action scene when she finds, the javelin and everything again. She's just knocking out dudes left and right.
She's going.
And
The tool was made for her.
yeah.
Like, you'd have thought it was like an extension of her bat at that point, because of how smooth everything was.
It was so crisp, man. And the way she was running off walls and, like, using that to cut people's necks open.
Just
Dude.
using it to flip as, like, an actual, like, prong. Like, that was sweet. Like, the flowers coming in, that was probably my favorite. Like, because in my mind, I'm like,
Two F-16s on each
this
hand.
is how she views everything. It's
Yeah.
just the flowers come in and, like...
I didn't see it that way.
That
But that makes sense.
That's what she's seeing. She's seeing all these people dying, but at the same time, she's seeing these flowers come in and all this pretty gold. And
see, I thought that was an
beautiful.
artistic choice on, like, the film directors, but I didn't see it that
No,
way.
that's
makes
homegirl
more
psychopathic.
sense.
Just that's her way to. That's what she sees, because that's why she's smiling, laughing.
See, this is why I love doing these little
It's-
spoiler talks, because there's so much
Right.
that, like, I just didn't catch the first time or the second time.
that's that trauma carrying over from the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, and
Yeah.
because her being captured from Birds of Prey by, like, Ewan McGregor and everything like that,
Yeah.
she's got to learn to kind of buck up and do stuff by herself.
Right.
Like, that's what she does in this movie.
And in this one, dude, that whole scene by itself, I could watch that like 10, 20
I
times.
loved it when she escapes all the
Yeah.
way and gets absolutely finally all the way out.
And just like opens the door and calls a taxi, like nothing happened.
just nothing happened. Just chills, and then it's like, oh yeah, can you take me here?
Yeah. And then she sees the crew going in to save her.
She
When they
sees
find out that they're
fucking Uncle Rick and Uncle
Bloodsport, yeah.
Bloodsport,
Yeah.
yeah. Their uniform, their outfits, if you will, their costumes changes.
I thought that was kind of interesting because they're coming off of the bar, I think, or out of the bar.
Out of the
scene.
bar, yeah.
And then when they get captured and they find out the Harley's alive, that's when they go into there to go save her. But they're running around broad daylight. Bloodsport's got his helmet
Full
on.
helmet,
Yeah.
But he's got sandals. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Just regular sandals.
Like they're not in any kind of shape to actually be doing any kind of rescuing or anything like that.
And it's kind of interesting because, like, I would have definitely called, like, someone, like, hey, this looks really suspicious.
Right. There's 4 people, or there's 3 people running around right now.
Yeah.
And one's climbing a building.
Yeah.
Like,
The other one's scoping out in the freaking
Right.
tower or whatever.
as
It's
he's like halfway up the building.
And then the King Shark moment, just bird. It's just-
Bird. How
Get
did
off
nobody report King Shark?
yeah.
He's just standing in the middle of the, like,
Yeah.
open, just
That
standing
would have
there.
freaked me out.
Bird. That was funny.
Yeah, and there's like I said again, I wouldn't replace those scenes for the logic and continuity errors. I wouldn't replace those scenes because they just work in that payoff of Harley Quinn just waiting out for them.
Yep. And her being just kind of bummed, like, I can go back inside. Like, and just, again,
Do it
her
over
taking
again.
over the role is like, I can do it, we can do it all over again.
Yeah.
Them just being insulted by the fact of, like, no, why would we do that?
Oh, that was amazingly well done.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that scene because of her independentness, and then them realizing, oh, we don't actually have to save her.
Yeah. Like, she can take care of herself.
She's good.
Yeah.
We're good. Waller wasn't worried, like we said earlier. Waller wasn't worried about it.
Not at all. And then they take the Thinker and they're going to go into the building of these where the Starro project is.
Right.
That's from there. I really like how they set up that it's this military militia or whatever. This like basically the other people that are going
Like
to kill
military scientists almost,
Yeah.
if you will.
and the way that they use the rain scene, which I didn't know how they timed that, but they use the rain to
Yeah.
blend in to get in there and to actually get into the building.
Right. Yeah. The blinding rain was an interesting scene for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens. I mean, when it's really sunny outside,
Yeah.
and if you're driving during that, and you just can't see because it's reflective.
Right.
But obviously they took it to the next level for that. But it was super cool to see their own moves at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Them kind of like their specialties kind of come out as they could sneak around and get around this, get around that.
Right. And then King Shark.
King Shark
right there.
thriving like.
Dude.
The lightning and blood,
awesome was that?
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, we rewatched that like 2 or 3 times. Just
Oh,
we
yeah.
were like, no, run it back.
I just love how like the guy just turns around and he's frightened, he's in fear, and he's like, "This is where I die."
Can you imagine just like running on land, like so like your sole job is to protect this building, right? Nowhere near water or anything like that. It starts pouring. It's rained before. Somehow you turn around and there's a shark.
Out of nowhere.
Like. You thought you were safe. You thought I'm good. I don't have to worry about sharks on land. Like,
Just dude, I felt bad for that guy because I'm like, dude, you couldn't do anything. You're done.
no, I mean, he tried to shoot, but at the same time, like
Yeah.
if I'm this close to the shark that's looking me in the face,
Right.
I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
call it.
That's it. Game over.
Yeah.
And then, dude, I love this part because like now we get into the building and everyone's setting up chargers. King Shark makes a little doll of a C4 doll.
Yeah, the Peacemaker.
Amazing. Everyone now has their own separate missions where part of the crew is going to go up to get the drive, and the other crew is just going to set up detonators, I believe.
Yeah.
And keep making more
Like
bombs.
one part's going to the top, one part's basically staying at the bottom.
Right.
Is ensuring that the building's going to collapse.
Right. I didn't see this coming though, because like you have Rick Flag with the Thinker and Ratcatcher and that one like drive room, and then like I think what happens before is that the C4 goes off with Harley's crew or whatever.
Yep.
And that triggers all to what's going on, basically unleashing Starro.
Right.
And from there, there's so much that happens in like this last 30 minutes, which
There's a lot of overlapping scenes and a lot of I don't want to say jumping in time, but it's kind of jumping in just because you're seeing one part of a scene and then they're flipping and they're showing you the build up and then a different part of the same scene from like a different angle, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was really interesting because like when they do the flashback, it totally lines up and it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, everything makes sense. I mean, even going back to like the explosion happening when King Shark is kind of like putting his hand on like the actual like wall of the aquarium at the top, which random, but I don't. Why did Waller need King Shark? They never really, I guess, explained that.
The way I saw it is that like, okay, if she knew that they were up against these like people that are these militia people or whatever, that have guns and all that stuff, we know that King Shark has really thick skin.
Right.
That and I don't think she knew about Starro. I think she knew about the Starro project.
Right.
But not so much of the Starro.
Of what the specifics were of the whole thing. Right.
Exactly. So I mean, she said that he going into the building that hey, he's your strongest character. You need him.
Right.
And that's what I was wondering.
And that's what I was wondering. Like, well, so where was that going to tie in? Like,
I think it was just in there to like actually get into the building.
Right. To physically get into the building and physically get by all the bullets in the hands of everything.
Because none of the bullets got him, and I thought he was dead.
Like, oh my god, I was so scared.
Yeah. Everyone in my theater. Even I brought my little sister and my baby brother to that, which was a mistake.
Right.
But they were gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's on HBO Max.
Yeah. There's so much blood in that.
But I'm like, if you guys are gonna watch it, at least watch it the way I would want you guys to watch it, which is like in the biggest screen possible.
Right.
And when the King Shark falls off that building, when that building's like tumbling,
man,
and
heart drops,
just boom right there, and then they shoot him still.
Right, and then they just go. Oh my gosh! But then he covers it. I'm like, okay, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like, out of anyone, please. Right. Amazing little thing. But then I didn't see this coming. Rick Flag finds a drive, right, and the freaking building collapses, or before the building collapses, John Cena's Peacemaker walks in, and he's like, "Is that the drive? I need that, or whatever."
Yeah.
That made so much sense of the polar opposite of Rick Flag's character and Peacemaker's character.
Yeah, that's literally those extremes of like they're both protecting the U.S. in ways that they feel is right.
Well, Peacemaker more in the lines of Waller for sure.
Right. That's why he was sent there. I mean, he told Flag himself. He's like, I have a different objective.
Yeah.
My goal is to get this back to Waller, essentially.
And their confrontation wasn't even supposed to happen, but when Rick Flag finds out the truth, that the U.S. actually got Starro and brought him into Earth, and now was using him in Colts and Martis as experiments. Dude, that's horrific.
Yeah, I think if Flag wouldn't have found that out, I don't think that there would have been as much push for him to be like, no, we got to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Because he would have been kind of swept under the rug of like, this is just another shitty thing that I've
he's
done.
like, we just got to take this drive. I don't know.
It's just another thing I've done.
But the fact that he found out about it, and then Peacemaker, dude, like I said, there's so much happening in these characters. This is the best acting I've ever seen John Cena in, for sure.
Oh, hands down.
And then the way he's like, I don't want to kill a hero. You're a hero. I don't want to kill you. And it he could have shot him before. But it shows that he actually respects Flag.
Right, that he was going to fight him in that sense, because he's got the pinpoint accuracy to then put him down.
Yeah.
But I think it was also in the sense of he respected Flag that he wanted to fight him physically.
Right.
Because he didn't want to use any like super high trained thing that he maybe have like done himself.
And I don't think he even wanted to fight him at all, because like maybe Rick Flag, like if he didn't know, he was just here's the drive, let's get out of here. That mission's up. But the fact that Rick Flag was like, no, this is the right thing. Do you agree that was the right thing to do?
I mean, yeah. I think Flag at the end of the day would have done that. And I think him doing that would have, if this is the same universe in theory that we think it is, he would have encountered, again, this is something that we wouldn't have seen.
Right.
But you would have encountered like somebody in the Justice League or something like that, and then they would have got behind it, got taken care of Waller and all this other kind of stuff.
So you align with Rick Flag being a good guy.
Absolutely, hands down. Because I love our guy John Cena.
Yeah.
Like I don't care how many men, women, and children have to go. Like, it's I draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, and then that totally comes to fruition there because like he was ready to kill Rick Flag
and Ratcatcher.
Yeah,
like he had the gun to Ratcatcher's face theoretically.
Yeah,
like before everything happened.
Yeah, and
unfortunately, after he dealt with our guy Rick.
That fight scene, by the way, like I love how his so the building explodes and Peacemaker's helmet's just there, and then you get to see this POV from the helmet looking at them fighting.
That was cool. Yeah,
dude.
I did think because they panned like I think about halfway around.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I don't want the whole like helmet personally.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see them actually fighting. So it was cool to see them actually fighting.
Right. Once they established that something's happening.
It was super cool. Yeah, to see them both like react to like it's on the ground there, and then they both dive for it and everything like that. Was super cool to see Cena, this huge guy, go toe to toe with Flag at that point.
But dude, Flag
who
is
also stacked for this new Suicide Squad. He was feeling this one.
Ripped, and I believe Rick Flag actually won that fight.
He
did. Right up until he gets stabbed.
No, I believe he full on won the entire fight. It was like the later explosion that allowed Cena to then like grab that glass.
Yeah.
And then actually get it into like again center mass perfectly through his heart, which ironically Peacemaker, which is I don't remember what it's called, a pacemaker.
Right. The pacemaker.
So I was like, I feel like it's ironic tying to that because he stabbed directly into his heart. And like,
interesting.
Now he's a pacemaker. In that sense,
I didn't see it that way. That as another layer.
That's just me. I don't know.
I said,
that's just the way I see it.
It's another layer of it, man.
I did enjoy Flag then responding with the whole like, "Oh, you're Peacemaker." Yeah, what a joke.
Yeah,
like,
and it's totally like in Rick Flag's eyes, he was doing the right thing, and it's not going to be peace. It's going to be for sure chaos.
It's chaos. It's not peace. I know Flag's like, I see where you're going with it as a person. But he's like, that's not how we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is not how we're gonna get there.
Which
that's
is
too
interesting.
Much. Yeah.
And I'm curious of what they're actually gonna do with the Peacemaker show that's coming out.
I heard about that. Yeah.
James Gunn directed 6 episodes.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, that's probably why he runs around with the suit. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen those. His red carpet.
He like stole the costumes. He's going to interviews. He's going to the red carpets.
Dude,
and
it fits perfect. Like none of this is CGI. Like it's all practical.
That's all him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even the tight suit. It's just his muscles and a little padding, but
probably just to fill in.
I think it's just to make it flat though, not to do anything.
I think it's just to fill in like this little area. But dude, I'm curious of what's gonna happen with this Peacemaker show because not only are we gonna get him as Peacemaker, but what's gonna happen after this with his character?
I imagine it's gonna be a bunch of Waller stuff.
I want to say so because I don't know if she knows that he killed Rick Flag because that was her guy.
Right.
I don't think she knows that, but if she does find out, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this guy and why did they even need him.
I don't think that she's gonna do anything I guess that's my other one little thing about the movie is like I want to know more about this Waller character because everything that I've ever seen Waller, so like everything was going wrong. She's like, don't go and help them, don't go and help them. And then she's about to kill them all, right?
Yeah.
Stone Cold Killer. And she got ding over the head by like her team or whatever.
She was gonna do it.
When she woke up, in my opinion, she should have either had a conversation about that doesn't happen again or I kill you all, or she should have just woke up and like ding 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 ding.
Something should have happened for sure.
Right, because I feel like that's where Waller sits. She's up there.
The way I saw it was like, well, it's already done. Like, there's nothing. Like, what's the point now? That's the way I saw it.
No,
like,
for sure.
It's done, but we should have seen that for sure. Like, hey, or like the girl that actually knocked her out, because for all they know, like, oh, you just passed out. Like,
we don't know.
We don't know what happened.
You just went to the ground. You just fainted.
Yeah, you
pressure.
Probably got stressed. Check it out.
Heart attack.
Like, so that's the way maybe they could have.
Maybe they'll spin it that way. That's interesting that way. Yeah.
I don't know.
Deleted scene would be nice too. Where maybe the one chick that hit her actually gets taken out.
Yeah, fired or something.
I don't know. But if she finds out that Peacemaker is the one that kills Flag, maybe she'll have a conversation about it. Honestly, maybe if it was because I had to kill him to get the mission done,
right?
Maybe she won't do it. But on the other hand, he still lost that.
Yeah.
So
And it's still interesting because they lost. He lost the drive. And
so
now,
he still lost the drive.
And it gets to probably one of my favorite scenes, man, where Sorrow comes out, and Ratcatcher is escaping, and then she gets right in that perfect line of like, oh, Peacemaker just killed just killed Rick Flag or whatever, and then they make eye contact, and it's like,
it's so cool.
Shit.
When he comes down, he just he lands and just looks straight up, like
that whole scene, like even right before, like he's got the gun, and it's like, why are you gonna kill me? He's like, cause I'm thorough, like,
cause he's thorough. That just makes you want to cry,
dude.
Like, which again, that's why I'm like, I like where he's coming from in terms of protecting everything, but like you being thorough is too much.
Yeah.
Like there's too thorough in that sense.
And you can definitely tell that this dude is okay. Yeah, I guess for liberty and for peace, but he's definitely off his rocker.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what he did to get into that jail cell. You know what I mean?
Like why is he there? Why did Waller want him as part of the Suicide Squad?
I thought that was really funny though. Like when she's explaining who Bloodsport is, and she uses the exact same sentence,
the same verbiage, and then he brings up like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
Like he does exactly the same thing I do.
Yeah.
He's like, but better.
But better. Yeah.
It's like, well, you can't do it better. It's like
just awesome.
Smaller bullets.
Yeah. And then we get to that. So yeah, freaking. I thought Bloodsport was gonna die. By the way, when he was hanging, I didn't see him living. Yeah.
No, I didn't either. So when he did and he eventually landed, I was like, okay, now he's gonna die.
Yeah. And then it just keeps going.
Because he kept going and going. And I was like, okay, I see where this is coming from.
And then coincidentally, he stops right at the same level floor.
Like lobby floor, here we go. Like,
and in this scene, man.
Just in time, which again, scenes overlapping. He lands just as John Cena literally probably just finished his sentence of, because I'm thorough.
Just like
and
that.
And then boom.
Yeah. Dude, like I said, no words are said here. Mm-mm. But you could just tell, like, Idris Elba's putting it together. He's looking at Ratcatcher, looks at Peacemaker. Peacemaker just looks at him, and then boom.
Yep.
2 shots get fired.
Just done. And then like the slow-mo of like the realization of like which bullet is whose bullet, and like that's Idris Elba's bullet.
Yeah.
And seeing like basically what they were talking about earlier of like my bullet goes through your bullets without touching the sides. I'm like, oh, that's incredible,
dude. And it sets up so well in that jungle scene earlier. Like everything, it comes back and
just him testing him and seeing what moves he's got, what things he's got. And, like, how does he operate? How does he operate? And Idris Elba, unfortunately, operates a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah. And then I just didn't see it coming, man. I thought I didn't think John Cena would be a villain in this at all.
I didn't think he was going to be like a big villain. I assumed he was going to be like one of those annoying guys that like maybe was like really charismatic and charming and everything, but it was an annoyance that they kind of shrugged off to the side after, like towards the end of the movie.
Right.
But come to find he's literally like a staple in how the movie ends. Like, that's pretty incredible.
It's insane, dude. I didn't think that was going to be... And just the way he handles the role. Fantastic.
Right.
But the way that this bullet comes in, I think it grazes his neck or whatever.
Yeah.
Pierces it like this, and I thought he was dead.
Yeah. Right there. It just... Because it literally went... The way that it went through, I thought it went straight through.
Yeah.
Just all the way through.
Right.
So, I mean, we didn't see him bleed out or anything. We technically didn't see him die. We saw him hit.
Yeah.
I guess hit the ground. So that's why I was like, when they announced the series, I was like, okay, so he's probably not dead.
Well, even then, I thought, when I was watching the movie, you're like, oh, maybe it's a prequel, possibly.
It could be at that point, because they've done that before. Maybe like an origin story kind of thing.
I mean, I would love to see both, like a little bit of his origin, but for sure, I need to know what happens next with this character.
Yeah, if he goes anywhere, it's gonna be interesting when he sees, because it's. In my opinion, it's got to be with Waller. Waller's got to be orchestrating his entire movements.
It has to be, because she is part of his whole thing now. Because they rescued him or whatever.
Maybe he's her new flag in that sense.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting. Right hand. Because like I thought that he was gonna die, or he was supposed to be dead. Like we get revealed later in the post-credit scene, he's alive.
Yeah.
But they actually showed Rick Flagg's heart being stabbed and pierced for that specific reason. That he's actually dead.
That Flag is dead.
Yeah.
Like the other guy, unfortunately. Like,
who knows? And at the same time,
Bloodsport's not as good a shot as we thought.
Yeah, exactly. But how unpredictable? Did you see Rick Flag being killed in this movie?
No, and it was the bummer because me and my girlfriend during the entire thing were like, "Do you think he's gonna die?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, he's not gonna die. He's winning. He's winning. Wait, okay, now he's kind of losing again. Like we literally kind of going back and forth of like they wouldn't do it. Why wouldn't? Why would they do it? No,
Right.
they do it for character development. But no, that wouldn't make sense. So we're the whole time.
The whole time
up
you guys
until
were
like
really
the
fighting
final
with it,
like blow of it. Like it was and then both of it just as soon as it happened, just like oh,
yeah.
okay.
Damn. And they showed it. They showed that scene for a specific reason. But
Yeah.
I still think that fight with Rick Flag and Peacemaker, and even Idris Elba taking out Peacemaker,
Right.
I thought that was incredibly satisfying
Yeah.
in and of itself. Just that whole scene.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was satisfactory. In the sense, I liked how quick it was.
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't like another drawn out fight between two big dudes.
Yeah.
It was literally just a test of like let's do our jobs. Who's gonna shoot first? Like,
And that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Man. I like it. And then we get to this scene. Starro gets unleashed out into the frickin' world for the first time in
Right.
35 years.
yep.
He's like, "This city is mine. I'm gonna take everything, kill everybody."
And he's like, I'm done with this scientist. He's immediately like the thinker's like right on his radar because
Yeah.
he sees him. He's like, oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
You tortured me and all my people and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that was messed up. Those experiments were
Those-
horrific.
The things that come out of Starro's side though just gross
Yeah.
me out. They're nasty.
Yeah, the way that the stars actually came out and just
Yeah.
the way it opened. Oh, that was
Yeah,
a little
it's
weird.
it's just gross with just the flesh that just like no, I'm not with it.
And that's dude, I totally bought that this thing was like alive. It
Right?
was
No, yeah.
real.
This again, the CGI on this was really good because
Yeah.
everything looked fleshy and everything looked like
Yeah.
really gross.
Really
and, like,
textured.
the eyeball looked like authentic and just like
Yeah.
you could see like the liquid in there. Like, it was
Absolutely.
It was incredible. I mean, seeing Star was something I personally wasn't ready for. I don't know if they hinted at it in the credit or in the trailers and things like that.
They hinted in the trailers, but you didn't get to see a line of Starro. We just got to see his foot break
The
out.
foot.
That's
See,
it.
and that's what. And I remember seeing that and being like, I think that's Starro, but I didn't think that they were gonna give him screen time in that sense. I thought it was
Right.
gonna be really fast.
My only gripe with this, or another gripe that I had in the third act, was I think it probably my only gripe in the third act, but when he gets unleashed, they say like with the letters, the Suicide Squad versus Starro.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, oh, that doesn't really happen then.
Right.
It's not until later that Idris Elba is like, our mission's done.
Right.
Like he's going off. It doesn't even matter that he's going off and killing people because that wasn't our mission. Our mission was
Right.
just to get the drive. And when they all turn around and
So you're saying like right after they basically like deny Waller and they're
Yeah.
saying like no, we're gonna go and help them.
that should have been
That's when it should have been like Suicide Squad versus like-
exactly.
yeah,
I think
right.
that way that was put should have been
Probably would have been a little bit more climactic in that sense. Yeah.
exactly
Right.
because I mean I still love the fact of like Bloodsport is just walking away. Like, our mission's done. Starro is unleashed. Doesn't matter.
Right.
We have
Not
a
our
drive.
concern.
But he hears women and children
You
screaming.
hear, here's people screaming, like innocent people that have no way to protect themselves or anything
Yeah.
like that because of this thing that Waller in his mind caused.
Yeah.
Like, but he wants to walk away because he doesn't want anything to do with Waller. He's like, I'm free, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done. It's
That's
whatever.
it. That was it. And I think it's only she wasn't gonna let him free. I think it was just gonna give him like 10 seconds.
It was like another 10 years off, yeah.
which is still pretty good.
But I think he was only in there for like another. Oh no, that was the other guy. He was in there 15.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
in
But-
the beginning of the
Yeah, he had life.
Yeah, he was done.
Yeah, he had life in there though.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we get to one of my favorite scenes now. We get to the Suicide Squad is finally like they're running, and by this point, how many characters have died? Like,
I mean, I if you look at the beginning shot of the Suicide Squad, and you see like the picture like on HBO Max, like,
Yeah.
you see like the picture of like all of them. It's on Waller's like face, like from
Oh,
chin
yeah,
to like
I
the
see,
top,
yeah.
like this or whatever.
right?
So if you look at that picture, only these guys are the ones at the end.
Yeah.
And then minus obviously these two.
And even the post-credit scene, I don't really count that until later. And
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like throughout the entire movie, you only end up with like four
Yeah.
or five people at the end.
That's the way
Like,
though, that do a movie. I
That,
think, yeah.
in my opinion, I'm like, cool. Well, now you're really connected to these characters because you're like, I don't want these ones to die.
Yeah.
Please just let me
Out of
have
anyone.
these ones. Like,
And another thing that bugged me was that, like, oh, well, actually, let's get to one of my favorite scenes. Idris Elba's pulling out all his freaking guns and gadgets.
just going, protecting everybody. Like, just because he immediately starts with Starro, obviously.
Yeah.
Of just like the big gun.
That thing is insanely
Just
cool.
he keeps just adding stuff to
Yeah.
it. I'm like, how many more pieces is he gonna throw
yeah,
on
like,
there?
put another one on there. What does
Right,
that
like
do?
what if you put one on the end, what happens? Like that's what it becomes, and then you see like the zoom zoom zoom.
I love that so much.
That was
man.
cool, like the concussive like giant
Yeah.
like shotgun or grenade launcher, whatever
Whatever
you
that
call
thing
it.
is.
Like just him like actually like walking towards Starro and
Yeah.
like they're kind of handling his business.
And for me, when I first watched this movie, I'm like, okay, how are they actually gonna kill this thing?
Yeah, I didn't know because
no
again,
bullets affected.
yeah, again to me it was the Starro's a Justice League villain. That's kind of the whole purpose of why Justice League got together in the original comics. Like if you look up the original like Justice League 1, it's Starro like holding Superman and like hitting Wonder Woman, like it's that. So I was like, how are all these villains gonna do it?
Who don't have that level of super, like
No.
the one that could take him out, I think, was Polka Dot Man for sure.
Yeah, because
he can disintegrate
of the disintegration. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
And like the thing that bugged me out of that thing, the last third act or whatever, was you can tell that Polka Dot Man was gonna die.
Yeah.
And he's like, he gets a really cool scene where you get to see his mom.
It's too glorious.
Yeah. It was like, oh, his mom is like telegraphed to Starro, and he's like unleashing his full power.
Right.
And you could just
the whole foot gets disintegrated and like Starro generally like falls back and you're like, whoop.
I thought that was it.
We're gonna get a good fight here because he's just gonna have to like boom boom a couple more times. But as soon as they did that shot where like it was like Idris Elba and then like Polka Dot Man was like he's like 15 feet away.
Yeah, I'm a superhero.
I'm like, oh, well, you said that.
Yeah,
It's me and my girlfriend compared it to when the hero cop in a movie he's gonna retire. Anytime a hero cop retires, bang bang.
Yep.
They get shot.
It's my last day of work.
Right? Bang. Every time. So we compared it to that. Of like, I'm a superhero.
It was definitely a cliche, and that pissed me off because I'm like, I wish without being a telegraphed, or it was just too telegraphed.
Yeah, it was too foreseen. It was too much of like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, but then it amps it up for me after that because like, okay, well, the one person that I thought could actually do damage is now dead.
Is now gone. So what are they gonna do?
And then Idris Elba steps up and he's like, okay, Harley, take the high road.
Right.
Ratcatcher, do whatever.
He becomes that leader that Waller said he was.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like on that moment, it all comes together.
Right.
And then King Shark was interesting in that fight because he's just eating the starfish. Now I don't know if Starro actually is a starfish or if he's just like doesn't have the properties of a starfish.
Right, or if he's just like an alien that is like how we have like humanoid aliens. How is it? It's like if he's like a staroid.
Exactly.
Alien?
Yeah. It was interesting.
But yeah, no, I personally think he's a giant starfish.
Yeah.
From what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Star You. Whichever one that I forget which one. Whichever.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Same.
But they got the eyeball in the middle, so that's what I attributed to. So I was like, okay,
same.
cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if there's a giant race of all of them out there,
mm-hmm.
that's scary. That's terrifying.
Very terrifying.
But if he is the last one, because they do the whole thing of like after they finally bring him down and everything like that, which I guess we'll get to. But where he says he wants to he was like, I was happy in the stars. I'm like, why did you go back?
That was sad.
Why didn't you go back though? That's my thing.
So I don't know if he could fly, and I don't know if he actually has other properties besides like being able to multiply the starfish that comes out. And just being able to just rampage everything.
Right.
I don't really know the extent of his power.
That's probably him being more starfish-like.
Exactly. Yeah. I was more interested in what he could actually do because we only get to see him in this third act, but I really would have dug to see like more of what he.
He's got to have something more than just physical strength and the mind control.
Yeah.
It's got to be something more than that.
Still,
I do know that one of his abilities was he puts the person in like a dream state.
Interesting.
So like when it does like attach to your face and things like that, you don't just like die on contact and things like that.
I didn't think that they were dead, but like I think there was one scene in the lab where the Thinker's telling Rick Flag and Ratcatcher like what the experiments they were working on.
Mm-hmm.
Face came off.
Yep.
Or like the starfish came off of some guy's face
and
his
skin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Horrific, really gory stuff.
Yeah.
But when that scene happened, I was like, oh, I think they really can't survive this. This is it.
Yeah.
Like if it's on there for life.
Right.
That's it.
So again, in there they don't explain it, but from what I've known Starro to be and to kind of have is like if he does take over your brain like that,
right?
It becomes like I said, like a dream state,
right?
Where you kind of see your best memory or your best wishes enacted in an actual dream state.
Interesting.
Kind of like a coma, if you will.
Yeah.
But your body then is also being used and things like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense that he would take over a live person and kind of conduct that,
right.
And then them showing the whole like the person was still alive as he's sitting there like doing that, but I don't think he feels that kind of pain.
I don't think he does.
But if you're able to convince him that I know it's a dream state. I think you can get out of it, but obviously they're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, well, that's what's like interesting because like I thought there was going to be more to it, but even just still like, when a starfish lands on your face, you're dead. Like I'm
giving up.
Yeah,
that's so. I was seeing the general his reaction when
that was perfect.
I was like, see, that's gold because that's this seeing how decorate because he's got gold stars and all the medals and everything. And he's just like, no. There's
nothing we can do.
I can't do anything with this right now.
Well, that's what I was curious because, like, you see Bloodsport is actually, like, shooting these things. And I don't think his arrows are anything special other than just, like, precision, things, precision shots. And, like, what's it? I think he was the only one that was actually taking them out. But they could still shoot those things.
As a game, also more just, like, swatting them away.
Yeah, just like this. But the whole militia was just like, oh, worse. Like, just...
They all kind of, it's panic mode, I'm sure. I mean, giant starfish thing expelling mini starfish things that are floating almost down to your face.
Scary.
Like, that it's traumatizing. So, I mean, I don't blame him. Like, it's kind of a spray and pray kind of moment, I'm sure.
Right. Now, did you see that Harley was going to be actually using the spear or the javelin to go inside his eye?
No, I thought she was going to stab and then tear.
Yeah.
And she stabbed and went all the way in, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
I did not see that coming.
Was cool to see because I like that when she got in the eye, it was just like all just liquid. Yeah. And just,
the inside of a membrane or whatever.
Yeah, it was how you would expect the inside of an eye to be.
Right.
If it was supersized.
Exactly.
It was cool to see her float and kind of tear like further in, but then her kind of like get stuck, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you would get stuck if you just kind of sit there in like the floating membrane at that point.
Yeah, you're just in. You
wouldn't be able to keep going.
Whatever the heck it is. And I like going back to Ratcatcher now. She has, to me, one of the best arcs. Just like she gets to actually, rationalize that I'm more than a villain, or she's not a villain. She just was like she
kind of finds a purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, and she finds her way.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And then when she uses the rats, thousands of rats.
Oh my gosh,
that's a lot of rats.
I could not believe. I'm like, okay, like I get the rat problem's pretty crazy in the world, but like
that was a lot of rats.
That was like the world's rats in one city, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I believed it.
It happens.
Yeah, and the only reason why I bought it is because we get to see her first use it in the jungle against King Shark, in a moment.
Swarm. Like literally in like seconds.
Yeah.
How many rats were just like, and I'm like, they were fine.
Exactly, and that's where like I totally buy it in the city for sure.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we've already got to see a smaller scale of this, but now we get to see that. But I don't think that she alone could have handled Starfish by herself, though. I don't think that she was able to.
No, I don't think she would have been able to take him down. She needed something as not necessarily a distraction, but like as a buffer, if you will, so she could call that many. Like I feel like if she called that many, she would have needed like time by herself. But in the moment, like going off of her dad's thoughts and all this kind of stuff, culminating in that one moment to protect this guy that's kind of like her new dad in a way.
I thought that was very powerful.
Just like having that whole moment into that just last like final twist of the PlayStation remote, if you will. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
The PlayStation, Connect whatever VR thing.
Right.
That's totally what it is.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, it just looked like one of those.
Yeah, and it totally. That's why I love that scene because it just everything comes together. And even before Idris Elba's he's using everything that he has to take out all these. Everyone that's mind controlled or whatever, and you see Ratcatcher on a car, and it's about to get hit by Starro, and out of everything, he can't do any, he's used up all his weapons.
He's screwed,
and he's like, oh, screw this, and he does the unthinkable, man. I didn't think he was going to save her. In time.
Just tackled. I didn't think he was going to get there in time. No, it was nice to see. I did like to see that he did run out of weapons.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time in movies like this, where a character can
keep pulling out things.
He just keeps pulling things out from random spots. At a certain point, you're like. All right, where was that one?
Right, exactly.
Where was that one located? But they also showed you it was all down his legs, inside and out, all up the side, all up the back, and everything. But to see him tap and then just all right, screw it, and just run was really cool.
And that's where his arc comes in a full head, I guess, because he wouldn't have done that in the beginning of the movie.
No, he would have left all of them.
Yeah.
More specifically, he would have left Ratcatcher to her own grave because, like they said. millennials, or
Yeah.
young kids at that point. Like,
He wouldn't
he
care.
barely cared for his daughter. Why is he going to care for this one?
Exactly. That's why I bought his arc, and I understood at that point. Like it's done before in other movies, but in this one, I'm like, oh, it hits home for sure.
I feel like it's also just Idris Elba as an actor. He himself can really pull a role in.
Yeah.
Like to switch from going and playing one character in one movie to playing another character in another movie without anybody being like, well, he kind of feels like this character.
Oh, he's completely.
He's just different.
If you go and watch him from The Office, like what?
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. Like even like his the way he switches from comedian to like his action is so flawless, and it's so smooth. It works very well in all his movies.
He is definitely one of the best actors of our generation, or like not generation, but like of our time for sure.
Yeah, he's great.
Jesus. And dude, the ending of this movie, I thought, well, now that Bloodsport has the drive, and he uses it to blackmail Waller, so it's like, hey, let us
for
go.
Their freedom,
And that was an interesting standpoint. Like I was saying before, do you align more with Peacemaker or Rick Flag? Because now the drive is not going to see the light of day unless one of them dies.
I'd still say it's still Rick Flag. I mean, at the end of the day, I still feel like one of them would do what Flag was going to do.
Right.
Not in the way he was going to do it, but I feel like they would. They would kind of leak it to the public instead of leaking it to one or two specific people.
Right.
Because they're more chaos people. I mean, at the end of the day, they're like, I don't really care. It's just this is really like Harley, especially. Harley be like, oh yeah, this is really bad. The world should know about it. Send.
Yeah, I think she would because she has her own moral code too. Even though she's messed up, she has her own code.
She has that line of like, no, that we shouldn't go that far. We shouldn't do that to those people. Like they're innocent or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Idris Elba, on the other hand, I don't know if he would really do it, unless it actually benefited himself. Like you said, he used it for a bargaining chip to use his freedom. So I imagine he's going to use it for something else next.
Right.
Beyond that, he's like, I don't know.
That's it. Doesn't matter. And I really like that that ending, and the movie just felt fulfilled to me at the end. I was just like, this was amazing.
I felt it wrapped up nicely. It didn't. So unfortunately, like the former, it didn't feel like it was like rushed at all.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was like, oh snap, here's the villain. Oh snap, all right, cool, we beat him. Cool.
Yeah. I think for the first one, going into the first Suicide Squad, not to go too off topic, but the way I always saw that movie that should have been made or whatever, even if the air cut, I don't really care about that. I think, to me, what would have made that movie better is if it was the Suicide Squad against Joker.
Yeah.
I think that would have made the best movie.
I feel like that's what they should have done. Absolutely. 100%.
And then it just makes sense because you've got Joker's a homicidal maniac, you have all the Harley stuff going into it.
Yep.
It all makes sense. And that, to me, would have made that first Suicide Squad movie amazing.
But tied a better bow around it. But this one had a nice smooth like realization into who was the actual villain,
exactly.
and then like
where it was going.
Exactly, and like where it was like gonna end up at the end of it. You felt like, okay, these characters on a good like arc. Like everybody ended it a nice little way. Like you had resolutions for each one of them.
Right. Now let's talk about this. So, the box office. This movie did horribly in the box office.
Yeah.
It did not do good.
I assumed it probably would have. I'm not gonna lie.
Which it had so many things against it because not only is it rated R, and it's a hard R. Like
it's a hard R.
Yeah,
oh my, this movie's bloody.
Yeah, and like even Deadpool. Like Deadpool. You can definitely like you shouldn't take your kids to see Deadpool, but it's still like more tamed. At least that's what I said in my review.
It's just, you can
more tamed.
Yep.
And Deadpool is much more popular than any of these characters for sure.
Easily.
So it definitely made money at the time for Deadpool. Both Deadpool movies, I think, made more money than this whatever make or combined whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But going into this movie, you can't take your kids to that. I think that would be a horrible mistake.
I would say if you want your kids to watch it at home.
Yeah.
Because then that way, if there is something that is too much or is too much for
can,
you,
like, skip over it.
Exactly, you can fast forward it, you can shut it off, you can say, hey, this is what they did and this is why they did it. It didn't actually happen. This is not real.
And that kind of makes me a little sad because, like, I mean, not so much about like the rated R, because that's the only way I could have seen to make this movie.
Oh yeah.
And you can still get away with like. Deadpool can definitely be a PG-13 movie,
right?
But the reason that they made it R is not only to satisfy the fans, but there are some stuff that, wow, you really can't.
You can't translate. Yeah, you can't translate in PG-13, so you wouldn't be able to do it.
Exactly. So like rated R, it makes sense, but they still could have made it work in Deadpool. It wouldn't be as satisfying.
Right. Exactly. And I feel like that's kind of the same way with this one. Is that if they would have taken this and taken that rated R version out and put only PG-13, was like light swearing and like nobody's head gets chopped and boomerangs don't like do like multiple people, like you need those things in order to get your point across.
Exactly.
In terms of super villains and things like that.
That they're murderous people.
Right.
And
Heroes, you can get away with PG-13, but
yeah.
if you're gonna do a villain movie, I need to see them
doing
a villain.
terrible
Like,
things, and they do terrible
things, right?
And that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, you have so much going against this movie that unfortunately, it's not going to make that much money because you can't bring your kids. You can't really market it towards a family movie.
I was like, you can't market it as a family movie. I mean, even after the pandemic, people are still like hesitant to go to theaters.
Exactly. Now with this new resurgence of a Delta thing,
we're just getting back into the swing of it. So it's
unfortunate because I don't think, because of how bad this movie did, I don't think that we're going to see a sequel to this.
I don't think this movie will get a sequel. Mostly due to that fact. I think part of it was going to the fact that the DC universe as a whole has struggled with it.
Yeah.
So I think when they do have good movies, they struggle with those. Now, on the other hand, the movies that have done well in that sense, like even at home sales, have gotten sequels.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it'll have a good like home release, and maybe it'll flip out that way because people will see it in HBO Max and be like, "Oh, I actually want that."
Isn't that interesting? Because like now you have it for free. Well,
yeah.
I guess not for free. You paid your.
You've got access to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a movie that just came out last week, and
Right.
you can watch it for. You want 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Watch it 7 days a week. Cool.
I mean, I just want to pop it in now.
Right.
You know,
like you want to have it on the background while you're cleaning the house?
Exactly.
Cool. Put it on.
Just put it on.
It's whatever.
And I think that's like, I think it's a mistake that they did that same day release for it, because it's like not only did you lose like a third of your budget or like half of whatever money you would have made already.
Yeah. Right.
It just killed any opportunity for this movie to even make a sequel or any other
to grow as its own movie
because it has so much more potential to do so.
Right. No, yeah, because it even in the characters that they end up leaving the story with, like King Shark, like my big thing, they don't call him King Shark the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I can't even pronounce his name.
Nanawe.
Nanawe, yeah.
The King Shark the whole time he was Nanawe the whole time. So I'm like, I took that as like a
maybe it's like an origin kind
as
of
like exactly. It was like this is the first time that this world is seeing Nanawe, and he's not King Shark yet because he's not like all the way there yet. So as soon as he gets there, he's reading, learning, and everything.
Right.
As soon as he gets there, boom, King Shark.
Exactly. So I was like, that's kind of interesting, but now I don't think we'll be able to. Like, now for sure, like we have the Peacemaker show coming up, and James Gunn directed 6 episodes. I don't know if it's 6 or 12. Yeah.
I think they want 12. I think they've directed 6.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to what's going to happen with that. But apart from that, I don't think anything else is up. Like we were saying, we don't know if Harley's going to make another movie with
I don't know about that.
Any of this other stuff. I'm really interested to see what they could actually do with these characters moving forward. But at the end of the day, I'm glad we got this movie. It just kind of saddens me that we're not going to get anything like this possibly ever again.
No, I don't assume we're going to get a villain team up kind of situation movie again. Just with how much, like you said, how much drama went on with this movie and with the box office release, with the fact that they have the 3 characters to walk away with.
Yeah.
I feel like if they do move on with any character besides Peacemaker, it's going to be Harley.
Yeah.
Because she's so fresh and new to the movie world.
And that's another thing why this movie didn't make that much money is because nobody knows these characters.
Nope.
Like, at all. Like, I didn't know anybody.
It's the first time seeing these 2 ever.
Exactly. I knew Rick Flag from the first one and Harley, obviously, from the last 2 movies. Yeah. But even then...
she's the most popular out of the entire bunch.
Exactly. She's more of like a Deadpool icon character or whatever. She's not as iconic as him, but she's recognized.
But she's that face when you're like, oh, Suicide Squad? Oh, the thing with Harley?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Well, at least you know it. Like, that's
exactly.
what it is.
But that's why it's because they're not known characters and they're not.
I do appreciate them trying to get them out there though. That's one thing I do appreciate is DC or Warner Brothers, whichever studio decided it first, that they're like, well, let's use some characters that people don't know as much,
and it makes
to bring
this movie
to try to
makes
draw
sense.
people. Yeah, because I don't want to see everybody that I know die.
Yeah.
And it's not good for business.
Yeah.
And then B, it's good to bring me in and get me like, well, who is that person?
Exactly.
Why are they with Harley?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this movie definitely sets it up, and it makes sense that it's called the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
And yes, we start off with like 14, 15 members or whatever.
Yeah, it's
and
a stacked crew.
It makes sense that this movie, you could kill off all. They even gave James Gunn the authority to kill off Harley Quinn.
They did. They gave him full rights. So like if you need to kill it for writing, for story's sake, if you need to. You got the go ahead.
Dude, how awesome is that they gave him full control over everything.
Right.
And they trusted him, and he
delivered.
I mean,
That I'm hella biased about because I'm also a huge like Zack Snyder fan in that sense.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that they ripped rights away from him the first time and then they gave him a whole 4.5 hour special, I'm like
it's interesting because you have Zack Snyder. I think he directed Superman, right?
the Man of Steel. Yep.
So Man of Steel I think is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't well received, and a lot of people were taken aback that it wasn't the Superman that they wanted.
They wanted that campy that Christopher Reeves that they had seen, which
and it was
I
much
totally
more.
get it.
I get it, but this movie or that Superman was much more in depth and had much more.
I feel like this one
character.
was more relatable in terms of like a person trying to be an actual superhero.
Exactly.
Like because he didn't want it right away and all that other kind of stuff.
Much more depth for sure. And I thought it was a great. Henry Cavill was an amazing Superman. But then we move on to, like, people didn't want that movie, and then we move on to the Batman vs. Superman, which came out coincidentally at the same time that
Civil War.
Exactly, where it's like you have the two biggest comic book characters
like
of all time.
It's another battle already. Yeah,
exactly. The two biggest characters of all time, comic book characters, Batman versus Superman. Right. I'm a huge Batman. Like, Batman has always been my guy since I was a kid.
Right.
I was gonna be there. It doesn't matter.
I knew I was going hands down.
Exactly. We were going to be there
that was an
day.
Easy showing.
Doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
But everybody else, though, the way that movie was handled, and some things were kind of anticlimactic. I didn't really like so much what happens in the plot of the movie. It had one amazing scene with Batman in the warehouse scene. Dude, I just watched that like every other day.
Where he's talking to Superman.
Oh no, the warehouse scene.
Oh, the fight scene. Where he's
scene.
protecting Martha.
Dude,
yeah, I could watch that on repeat.
Honestly,
I could watch that shit on repeat.
That thing is on my favorites.
I love that. Yeah, I love that video.
But besides that scene, you have some interesting character moments with Batman and Superman. But again, different interpretations of characters that people were not wanting.
Yeah, and people didn't want those versions. They wanted different versions of their characters.
Yeah, and then again, it didn't do so well. So then we get to obviously Justice League, which we already know the whole story with that, and then obviously the HBO, the full Zack Snyder cut, which is significantly better.
Which is just so many different points are so much stronger already.
Yeah, but that movie didn't do jack because it wasn't a theatrical release.
There was no theatrical release, so the home release is what everybody's theoretically waiting for. But
exactly,
we'll see how that does.
But that's the biggest thing, right? Warner Brother, DC division hasn't had a win.
Right.
To me, this is a win,
and that's what I mean. Them giving James Gunn full rights was in my thoughts a reflection of like, well, we probably should have given full rights before.
Well,
or at
I
least
saw more of this
eased up on our rights before.
Yes, and I also see it as more of James Gunn comes from one of the biggest studios ever.
True.
Marvel.
True, but so did Joss though too. That's what I'm saying.
Well, with Joss Whedon, it's interesting because like I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but Zack Snyder has his own vision of Justice League, where he was going to take the third, the third last movie,
right?
And it shows in the last, the final cut.
Yeah, because he has so much more detail.
And then you have Joss Whedon that comes in, and this was never supposed to happen.
This is the spur of the moment decisions on everybody's part.
Yeah, and I think it was the best case scenario because Joss Whedon, we know what he did with Avengers, and it made sense why they brought him in.
Right.
But he didn't have the vision, and it's not his fault.
No, not his fault for not having the vision. It's one of those things of like it's not anybody's direct fault, but at the same time it's like then people start pointing fingers at other people, and then that's when messages get mixed up, and then that's when people's feelings get hurt and everything like that.
It's just so much things that happen.
But that was a giant ball of drama that unfortunately had to happen during shooting.
Yeah, and it was terrible. It's just so much things that happened. But like I said, Warner Brothers hasn't had a win, and they haven't produced a movie that I liked. I love Man of Steel, and Batman vs Superman was okay. I liked it for
Wonder
sure.
Woman 2, I think, was before this one.
So that was their only. I think Wonder Woman was like the biggest hit that they've had before Aquaman. Cause
I was before Aquaman. Yeah,
Aquaman was their first $1 billion movie.
Shattered things.
Destroyed.
Like it just made. I feel like Aquaman made Warner Brothers DC kind of rethink the way that they were looking at their solo movies.
Because that's when I think it came after the Justice League.
It came after Justice League. Yeah,
and then it made sense because like, well, we can do a solo movie with these characters.
And we can knock that out of the park. If we introduce the characters, then they're not as like, oh snap, they changed my character.
Yeah.
It's no, we slowly, gradually threw them in there, and this is who they are, and
Right.
this is how they work with people.
Exactly. And then we have the Joker, which is the DC, like, completely out of, like, the realm of their verse, or what's it called, reality that they're making the movies in.
Yeah, right.
Dimension, whatever.
The former Snyderverse, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Completely out of the realm. Made more money than Aquaman.
Yep, it shattered it, and I feel like that was because people I feel like a lot of people were drawn to the Joker name.
Yeah.
And then I feel like a lot of other people were drawn because it didn't look like it was going to be that kind of Joker movie.
Right.
In
like,
the
it was
sense.
completely different.
It was this was a new take on and then also everybody's like, the origin of the Joker.
Right.
Like, it was one of those kind of things. I think that movie's done phenomenally well.
Yeah,
Like,
it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
yeah, that movie. I have the violin of him in the bathroom is so relaxing. It's just it's
that
so
whole
relaxing.
soundtrack. I play it when I draw sometimes. It's so, some of it's so demented, but it's a deconstruction of the human mind.
Yeah, it's that, and that's what I think it was like when you're listening to it. That's what it sounds. It sounds like literally like music is cutting through your head at that point and going like in this emotion of your head and going over here, and then like
that's
you start thinking about it differently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why when I reviewed it, that was my main topic of like how they actually did that. But alas, we have these movies that finally made money to possibly fund more of these things. But
absolutely.
At the same time, it's like this movie, I see it on par or even better, like one of the best DC movies ever made.
This is one of those movies that you want to rewatch, that you want to go back and, well, I want to see this scene again, or I want to see this part again.
Like the only reason I watched the Batman vs Superman is for that warehouse scene, when Batman's fighting. But that's kind of it. But for this one, from start to finish, man, I am entertained.
Yeah. From did anybody check the Weasel could swim?
Yeah.
To the last fucking
freaking Starro
coming out, and then you seeing I'm a superhero, like it's nonstop, like action, fun story, like it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like I said, it's unfortunate that I don't think we're going to be able to see something like this again. Even though this is a hit, people should go out and see it. I can't recommend it enough, but it's unfortunately that's kind of where we're at. Anyway, final thoughts. I love this movie.
Yep.
I can't wait to see it again. I want to go see this again. And there's a theater that's just opened up, like right down the block.
Oh, that's enough. That's lovely.
Yeah, the Moundsview one. Yeah.
So I can walk.
Yeah, exactly. You can just walk there and come back.
Love it.
Your final thoughts on this?
I loved it. I again, like you said, I thought it was one of the best things that DC has been able to put out as of lately.
Right.
As of seeing more stuff like it, I don't think that we will see a collab of like this person all together. It'll probably be more solo movies moving forward.
Right.
But who knows? That'll be more interesting at that point.
Yeah. Well, for right now, wow, I did keep you over time a little bit, but we got into it.
Yeah, you're good. You're totally good.
Oh my god. In any case, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Give your sign off. Do you have a thing you want to do?
I don't have any handles. I appreciate you guys appreciating me being here, possibly, if you appreciate me. Yeah. Love you.
Awesome. Well, with that, guys, we'll see you next week for Free Guy. I'm going to do a Free Guy review, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you later.
All right.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
I love that movie, though. It was...